The Greek philosopher Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Starting with the inner victory habits. Habit number 1, be proactive. One exceptional gift that separates us from being merely animals is self-awareness, conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. This is why man has dominion over the entire world and allows us to make new and break old habits, and why we can then choose to either be proactive or reactive. I'll liken this principle to two characters, Jim and Joe. Jim has had a rough life with constant changes of location growing up. A close friend passed away early in his life, and he also lost his dog. Struggled to find and keep a job as well as a girlfriend, and to him he believed he'd been handed a bad hand in life. To him, he simply couldn't catch a break and continues in this cycle, hoping someday something will magically come and change his life. This is one way to live. However, Joe also had a rough life with a parent passing away, losing his dog, relocating often, being laid off a couple times from work, and having a few heartbreaks along the way, but believes he can work to change his lot. There is opportunity there for him, and knows that if he keeps working on himself, he will achieve his goals. The difference is within their minds. Joe dealt with his lot by looking at how it helped him become who he is and chose to take control of where he is at and work towards a brighter future, knowing he has the ability to shape it. Jim thinks of his lot in a much different way, and he believes he can't have anything better because this is just how it is. He will always be given this bad luck, so he must simply accept it. He can't do anything to change this life, and it seems it will always be full of misfortune. We all know Jims and Joes in our lives, so how can we become more like Joe and less like Jim? Being proactive instead of reacting to circumstances, and knowing you can choose to shape your future, and yes, you are in control of yourself and your actions. So let's make it a habit to be more proactive and take charge of our life. Have some fun. Make what some would believe impossible possible. Take control of the situation and control the outcome instead of responding to things when they happen, and I can promise you this habit alone will change your life. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. Imagine the Grim Reaper came to you one day and told you to stop what you're doing and come with him. You reluctantly accept, expecting your time to be up, but only to be taken to a funeral. This funeral, the Reaper states, is yours and will take place 3 years from today. As you try to listen or see the faces of who was there, you realize you can't tell who or what was even being said. The Grim stated this was your wake-up call to shape your last 3 years of what kind of person you'd like to be remembered as, what people will say of you, what they admired, found funny, how good of a friend you were, and what you made of your years. How different your life can be when you realize what's really important to you, with a glimpse of death looming. A truth is we all die, and that is inevitable. But what will your life be worth? What will it mean? What impact will it have upon the world? Who will it impact, and what will people say of you? These are things you must decide for yourself and how you would like to be remembered. So the challenge is to begin with the end in mind of what and who you'd like to become, so that way you can start shaping your life to that end. Take some time to really discover who you want to be, what life you want to live, and what your life is calling you towards. May this give you some direction if you feel at times lost. Habit number 3, put first things first. This one can oftentimes be difficult because we have so many things demanding our attention that say they are important, like our phone. Hey, ding, check this out, or ding, check out what's new on Facebook, or wait, ding, the latest in the news. You also still have 10 notifications on your email that you of course need to go through ASAP. Starting each and every day by putting first things first will ensure you get things done in the order they need to be done, and still allow for plenty of other time for whatever leisure activities you have. Great thing about this one is these are your choice, and some of these can be subjective, like how some people find reading books, video games, or TV a complete waste of time, and others view them as recreational. How do you put first things first? Let's look at the 4 quadrants by the author of this book, Covey. This will let you know exactly which order things ought to get done. First, we'll make 3 lines to separate these out. At the top, we'll write urgent. Next will be not urgent. We will then mark the other side with important and not important. Then we'll mark each with 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is the order of how things will get done. Let's dive a little deeper into this with some examples that could fall into each quadrant. Quadrant 1 is important and urgent, or need to do. Things that would fall into this category would be like paying your mortgage bill today because the last day you have to pay your mortgage, otherwise you'll get a late payment. Another would be an emergency event where one of your family members broke their arm and they needed to be taken to the hospital. Others would be like firefighting or crisis prevention. Quadrant 2 is important, however not urgent, or the quality quadrant. This allows you more flexibility to decide when you want to get these done. However, they still definitely need to get done. Some examples would be like planning a date night for your significant other that is about a week out, taking time to be there for your kids or your friends. Other examples are like exercising, eating food, staying hydrated, having some fun, and maybe some relaxation. Quadrant 3 is urgent but not important, or the distractions quadrant. Some examples would be interruptions or outbursts from friends or family, attending unimportant meetings, or that pesky smartphone again, simply things that distract you from accomplishing what you want. Quadrant 4 is known as the time wasters. This is, as you know, the not important and not urgent section. Complaining to complain, mindlessly scrolling through TikTok or social media posts to see if something catches your eye. Another example is trivial busy work and things that don't contribute on any level to you or your goals. If you make these 4 quadrants, and if you feel yourself struggling to figure out which would fit where, you can always ask a friend or family member who cares about you for help and what they think. If you're a little unsure, just revisit the 4 quadrant section of this video. Next, we have the outer victory habits, starting with habit number 4, think win-win. An idea summed up with the example of mutualism, or bees that collect nectar from flowers to make honey. And by doing this, they also spread pollen between flowers as they travel, which helps the flowers reproduce. Most people will think of win-lose situations where one person has to lose in order for someone else to win. And this is basically like any of your favorite sports games. There can only be one winner and there can only be one loser. Finally, we have the lose-lose situation, which is the worst outcome where both parties are not happy with either outcome. Within the book, Stephen showcases this principle by making an agreement with his daughter in order for her to be able to drive the family car. In this agreement, he states that she is to follow the laws of the land, maintain the car, use the car for responsible purposes, and be like a taxi for her mom and dad within reason, and these were going to be their wins. Their daughter would win by being provided with the car and being able to drive it, having gas provided for the car to ensure it continues to run, and having insurance to protect the car. They would evaluate this agreement weekly, and as long as she kept her side of the agreement, then her father would keep his and both sides would win. Another win-win example is fostered through YouTube. YouTube wants to show people the right video at the right time, and content creators want to make the best work for people. In so doing, people will decide or vote via liking and subscribing to certain content they enjoy to better YouTube and help ensure they share the right videos with other people who have similar interests, a form of mutual agreement. How can you foster the win-win habit in your life? Habit number 5, and this one is huge in communication. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. This one has helped me tremendously in almost every aspect of my life. For a moment, imagine you go into an eye doctor and you tell him, "I can't see too well." And he says, "Try on these glasses. They've helped me see better for over 10 years. And I have an extra pair at home, so you can wear these." So you put them on, and well, things are blurrier than ever before. You tell them, "I can't see a thing." And actually, things look a lot worse than it was when I didn't wear these glasses. And the eye doctor explains, "Well, they've worked for me for years, so give it some more time. Try to see. Think positively." To which you reply, "I positively cannot see a thing." "Whoa, you're ungrateful," he says. "After all I did to try and help you." Now question, would you ever go back to see that eye doctor again? Chances are probably not. Prescription without diagnosis is bad practice. Often we prescribe solutions without truly diagnosing the issue from the person's point of view. And John C. Maxwell said, "People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care." Some ways we can do this is by simply listening and not worrying about that thought that comes to your mind, what you want to say next as someone is speaking. Simply listen to what the person has to say, and to confirm you understand what was said, you can repeat back to them what they said. These are great ways to ensure you truly do understand what the other person is saying. An excellent communicator will look to be empathetic or showing an ability to understand and share the feelings of another. This principle is applicable to business, sales, and everyday interactions. We have a psychological need to be understood. The better you understand this, the better you will be with people. Habit number 6, Synergize. Stephen referred to this as the highest activity in all life, the true test and manifestation of all the other habits put together. And he would say the whole is greater than the sum. An example is two of the same plants which were planted next to each other will utilize the soil to help strengthen both plants to help them grow better. Another example is moving furniture. You can't always lift everything by yourself, but with one extra person you can lift a whole lot more than you could do otherwise. Synergy is to value differences, to build on strengths, and to compensate on weaknesses with the strengths of others. Take, for example, the difference between a man and a woman. The adult man is generally faster, stronger, able to work longer, more decisive, and shows more emotional restraint. However, the adult woman generally has a stronger immune system, can bring children into the world, is more compassionate, seeks fairness, and often has greater self-reflection. This isn't to say one is better in all aspects, nor is this saying we should be oblivious to our own weaknesses and not work on them, rather finding the strengths in others and bringing them together to complement and shore up each other's weak points. Think of this like football, a team sport where you will have the quarterback who has the strength of a good arm and good aim. But the offensive lineman protects the quarterback, and their strengths is that of defending and holding the line. Each has a role to play and complements each other's to bring about the goal of winning the game. Habit number 7, sharpen the saw, or the principle of balanced self-renewal. Imagine you came upon someone in the woods straining to cut down a tree. What are you doing, you ask? The man replies out of frustration, "You have 2 eyes. I'm cutting down this tree, can't you see?" You reply, "Wow, you look exhausted. How long have you been working on cutting down this tree?" "Over 5 hours, the man replies. "And I am exhausted. This is hard work." You propose, "Well, why don't you take a bit of time and sharpen your saw? Surely it would help things go faster." To which the man grumbles, "I don't have time to sharpen the saw. I'm too busy sawing." Maybe this is something you can relate to, just being too busy. You have things and people to take care of, a family to provide for, work to do, and chores to get done. The list is endless. I myself have done exactly that, been too busy. I once had a certain job that took most of my time. Even when I was home, I was answering phone calls, planning the next day events, and neglecting my family at times in order to fulfill the expectations of this job. As this continued, I would literally become dull from fatigue, make dumb mistakes, and even though I'm working, I wasn't actually being productive. Over time, this created problems within me and had a detrimental effect on my family, to which I finally decided to walk away from that job. After such events, I was able to truly grasp this concept, and there is great wisdom in stopping what you are doing to sit down, refresh your mind, rest, ask for help, and get a little smarter so you can work through problems faster. A few things I can share that have helped me over the years have been focusing on gratitudes, exercise, meditation, listening to music, reading self-improvement books, getting a good night's rest, and eating a well-balanced diet. Which of the 7 habits of highly effective people most resonated with you? And as always, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.